Hey guys, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. So lately a lot of people have been doing comparison videos to some of the guns that they own. I know my boy KS Gun Guy has been doing a great series about which would he choose. Now, unfortunately, I can't really do that. I actually saw Spec Ops video today also with the 320, the Glock 19, and the P-10. And, all great videos. I love when guys do comparison videos so that people can see what is good, what is not good, what will work, what will not work for them potentially. And one of the things I was talking to KS earlier today about was maybe I should start doing that. And then it dawned on me that there really is no way for me to do that, honestly. I mean, for me personally, as many of you are aware, I am probably the world's biggest Walther Ppq fanboy. And for me, I just could never sit there and say that any gun right now is better than this. With that being said, this right here is an excellent quality firearm. There is no doubt in my mind that CZ definitely did a great job with their research and also with their design team to come up with a gun that works, that is going to appeal to a very large audience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically go over some basic differences between both. I'm going to cover really quick some things I like about both, and yes, even some things I don't like about both. I know that might be hard for you to believe, but there are some little things on the PPQ that I hope they change in the future. Now, getting over the specs and kind of understanding what you're looking at here, both guns are amazingly almost identical in every way. Now, of course, obviously, you'll say that the CZ has a lower slide height compared to the PPQ. However, size-wise, weight-wise, they're basically neck and neck. For example, with both of these guns, if you look at, for example, the barrel length, on the CZ, it's 4.02 inches. So you're looking at 2/10 of an inch difference between this and this. This is a 4-inch barrel, this is a 4.02. So even for the length, basically the same. Now, 2/10 of an inch, maybe that's something that you would, consider a big difference, but to me, it's really not. In regards to the overall height of both guns, the CZ comes in at 5.2, and of course the Walther comes in at 5.3. So again, even height-wise, they're almost identical. Width-wise, the CZ comes in at 1.26 inches. The width of the Walther Ppq is 1.3, so we're looking at 0.04 of a difference between the two widths. So again, not something that I would actually say is a big, huge difference between the two. The weight thing is actually kind of interesting because empty mags, the P-10 comes in at 26 ounces, which is exactly the same weight as a SIG 320, interestingly enough. And the actual PPQ weight unloaded is 24.5 ounces. So again, you're looking at about 1.5 ounces difference. And for some people, that might be a huge difference. For others, it may not be that big of a difference at all. And then overall length for both guns, you've got 7.3 inches and 7.1 inches. So overall, both guns are pretty much identical in a lot of ways. So I know a lot of people say, oh, but this has got a lower slide height, so definitely going to shoot more accurately. That might be true. I know there's some people who definitely say that this PPQ has a bit of a snappiness to it. It definitely has a little bit more muzzle rise, and even I would notice that when I'm shooting the P-10 or even let's say the SIG 320, which we all know has a pretty substantial slide height to it itself. Again, the 320, in my opinion, is one of the smoothest shooting guns that's out there, and I love the 320. But for me, in regards to the PPQ, I still think this is a fantastic gun, and I really think it is the best on the market. So that's why I can't do which would I choose, because you already know what the answer is. It's definitely this one. Now, going through some real basic features of both, if you want to start with the grips, again, the angles of both grips, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop the mag out, and again, this gun is unloaded, and it is empty. The PPQ is empty. Okay, no magazine in there, it has any ammunition, so everything's empty and clear. But if you look at the grip angles, what's interesting about the P-10 is, and this is something I mentioned in the original review, the P-10 resembles a lot to me in regards to its shape, the actual Steyr, because when you're fitting your hand onto the actual grip, you eat up a lot of that polymer in there, and that's actually a really good, very comfortable hold. And I have to say that's one thing I definitely like about this gun, from the simple standpoint that you're getting a very high hold on the gun, and because the slide is a little bit lower, than let's say the PPQ, it should shoot a little bit flatter. Now, I will tell you, it still doesn't shoot as flat as the SIG 320, but that's just my opinion. Now, in regards to the PPQ, again, you can see the height of the slide, definitely higher from the polymer. However, I don't really have any issue shooting this. I know some people complain about a muzzle flip, but honestly, guys, I still don't really know what you're talking about. Yes, it's a slight muzzle flip, but it's still not significant to me that would make me worry about being accurate with the gun. Again, I'm not a marksman, but I feel like I get good groupings with the PPQ, whether it's fast firing or just kind of concentrating on my trigger pull and the reset. So for me, it works. But again, it's all up to the user. Some people like it, some people don't. It's just going to depend on what's your cup of tea. Ergonomically, when I look at both guns, again, very nice ergonomically, but for me, this just seems to fit a little bit better. I think, again, what the PPQ has done, they've added this little texturing to the frame. It's not the most aggressive, but it definitely gives you a little bit of bite, and I don't really notice any slipping on this. At one time, I actually did have some grip tape on it. I actually had a traction grip on my black one that I had sold, and I wound up taking it off because I didn't feel it was doing anything significantly more than without having it, so I took it off. But again, you have your ergonomic hump in the back here, and this is the medium back strap, and again, I absolutely love the way this feels. You know, the small to medium is always good for me on this pistol, and I do like it. Now, of course, where the big advantage I think goes to the P-10 is the simple fact that you just can't ride up high enough on this gun. Now, obviously, you can get a pretty good grip on there, pretty high, but I think because the polymer is so thick, plus the slide runs a little bit higher, you're just not able to get that slide to rest lower into your hand. Now, of course, does that mean the gun won't fire and it won't do anything that it's supposed to? No, it doesn't, but that's just something that I've noticed in regards to the gun. The P-10, in regards to its grips, again, the texturing, I have to say I really like the texturing. I think it's a great combination of harshness, but at the same time comfort, which if that makes sense to you, great. But I definitely have to say it's a nice grippy feel. You can feel that gun locking in your hand, and when you give it a little bit of hold to it, again, you know, your hand's going to come out with a little bit of those marks on it, but it's not uncomfortable. Again, I did shoot 300 rounds through the P-10, and after the day was over, I definitely felt it, but it wasn't uncomfortable. Okay, so that's just something for you to be aware of. Again, if you want to compare both guns, the sights on the Ppq that come with the gun are terrible, so it is always advisable to switch them out. You can see I have excess big dots on it, and I absolutely love these sights. And of course, the P-10 comes with luminescent steel sights, which is good, but it would have been nice if they released it with night sights. However, they didn't do that. Now, of course, if you look at both guns from behind, you can definitely see that there's a significant difference on the height of the slide from the Ppq to the actual P-10. Now, with that being said, if you place them on their tops and you look at them from this perspective, you can see that they really are neck and neck, and I'll try to line them up back to back if I could. This one has to come back a little bit more. But you can see that they're pretty much neck and neck with the same size. Again, 2/10 of an inch is not going to do anything even on the length. Side by side for grip length, just so you can see that as well. I know some people complain that the grip on the P-10 was a little bit longer than the Glock 19, and they would be right in saying that. And let me just see if I can get this down here. There we go. I apologize if it looks a little messy. But you can see that, again, it's pretty close to the same length. Again, that's not a surprise. You can see the polymer kind of extends down in the front with the Ppq, more at an angle, whereas it gets cut out with the magazine once you put the mag in. So, I mean, it's not technically that big of a difference even in the way these would carry. So, yes, I understand that it is longer than the Glock 19. However, I have no problem carrying this, and I actually carried this on Saturday, and I had no problem with it then either. So both guns extremely carryable. Now, in regards to, I guess you could say, the trigger. Now, this is where it gets kind of iffy for me on the P-10. Now, a lot of people, when they were doing their initial reviews, said this was going to be a trigger from Valhalla, like this was going to be the heaven trigger. I disagree with that. I don't find this to be the great trigger on the market, or the greatest trigger on the market. Now, of course, a lot of people give you flack saying, oh, does it really matter if you're going to have to do it in self-defense? Of course it doesn't. You know, let's not fool each other pretending that in a self-defense issue, you're going to have to sit there and think about your trigger pull. I've said that a million times in my previous videos. It's not going to matter. However, the way they sold this gun to everybody was this amazing trigger. Now, is it a good trigger? Yes. Is it an improvement upon a Glock? Yes. I still don't believe it's a better trigger than the PPQ, the VP9, or the 320 for that matter. I think they're better triggers on those guns than this one here. Now, of course, your take-up, it's a fair amount of take-up. It's not too short. It's not too long. It's about right in the middle. And then you'll notice that when you pull your finger back just a little bit, let's see if I can get it to do that, there is no more movement. What I noticed when I first got the gun, there was a little slop in the trigger. That has since gone away mostly because I did shoot it. So I think that's a good sign. Now here's your reset. Very positive, pushes the finger forward. And you see that little bit of play on that reset. Now again, that's not going to matter, guys. Don't get me wrong, that's not going to matter. It's still a great trigger, still very positive, very good, very short, and again, I would highly recommend this gun. Now, of course, the Ppq, in my opinion, has one of the best triggers on the market, if not the best. So again, here's your Ppq take-up. Again, it's definitely longer. It's definitely longer than the P10, but once you get to that back part where it's about to break, you see, and that, again, I have to make sure I keep my finger all the way back when I do that, but you'll notice that it breaks. I mean, look how short that break is. That's a scary, scary short break once you get it all the way back to the wall. Again, very positive, push forward, and then again, here's your trigger on the secondary shot. Very short. In my opinion, very smooth, very short. This one, a little bit more resistant and a short trigger as well. So trigger-wise, it's going to depend on what you prefer. I still think the Ppq has the best. I think the P10 is there, and it's definitely better than a Glock 19, but I don't think it's still going to reign supreme in the trigger market. Again, if that matters to you, overall, both great guns. Overall, very good carry guns. If you were going to pick which one, it really depends on you. These are hard to find right now. You've got a lot of people who are jacking up the prices on the retail on these. You know, you find them online for $550, sometimes $600. Of course, if you get an FDE, it'll probably cost you a little bit more. In this case, obviously right now, Walther has that $100 rebate for the PPQs and the PPS, so that's a huge plus. So right now, you pick these up for, you know, anywhere from upper fours to maybe real low fives, and then you drop $100 from the rebate, and now you're talking in the upper threes to the lower fours. So it really is going to be based upon what you guys think. Overall, you can't go wrong with either one of these guns. Again, I can't pick because if I did, you know which one I'm picking, and it's this one. I've had more time downrange with this. This one, I'm still learning the ins and outs of it. Again, both great guns. You can't go wrong with either one. So that's just kind of my opinion on both. Again, if you like the video, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up. For those of you who keep giving me those thumbs down, keep it coming because they count just as much. So again, guys, I hope you have a great night. Hopefully you had a great weekend. And as always, freedom is never free.